Hey guys, this is Ed from Mission Ed Possible, where I take on various life-improving gamified challenges. This is my Go Programming Challenge, Day 1. So, I wanted to learn Go, the programming language. I've played with it a little bit in the past, but I never got comfortable with it enough to be able to use it every day. I found something online called adventofcode. And it is a puzzle site based around the Advent calendar for Christmas. So every day, the idea is that it will come up with a new challenge for you for each day, December 1st through December 25th. It doesn't matter as far as it being Christmas time or not, that doesn't matter. What I wanted to have was regular puzzles every day. So the idea is that I'm going to go through the Advent of Code from 2015. I've never done these puzzles before, but I've heard that they can be very challenging. Hoping I can use my generic programming skills to be able to solve the puzzles. The goal is to be able to do them in real time. I'm doing as little off-screen coding as possible so that you guys get the full effect. It's kind of like a Let's Play, but for code. So hopefully you'll be able to follow along and maybe learn something along the way. If you see me making a mistake while I'm programming, feel free to call me out. Leave a comment below. Yeah, should be fun. It's 25 days, so planning on doing a series of 25 videos. So this is day 1. Let's get into it. Okay, so it's time to learn some Go using the Advent of Code. Advent of Code came out about 5 years ago, and it's an Advent calendar, and it shows every day for the Advent. It shows a different puzzle for each day of the, for December, leading up until Christmas. So, don't need to do the actual 2021. I'm not doing it for I'm not doing it for the contest or anything. I'm only doing it just to have puzzles. So I'm actually going to start with 2015, and let's see what the puzzle is. So, day 1, not quite Lisp. Santa was hoping for a white Christmas, but his weather machine's snow function is powered by stars, and he's fresh out. To save Christmas, he needs you to collect 50 stars by December 25th. Collect stars by helping Santa solve puzzles. 2 puzzles will be made available on each day of the Advent calendar. The second puzzle is unlocked when you complete the first. Each puzzle grants 1 star. Good luck! Here's an easy puzzle to warm you up. Santa is trying to deliver presents in a large apartment building, but he can't find the right floor. The directions he got are a little confusing. He starts on the ground floor, floor 0, and then follows the instructions 1 character at a time. An open parentheses means he should go up 1 floor, and a closing parentheses means he should go down 1 floor. The apartment building is very tall, and the basement is very deep. He will never find the top or bottom floors. And it has some examples here of, the 2 opens and 2 closes, and 2 opens and 2 closes both result in floor 0, so that makes sense. And so the idea is that it's a never-ending, it's unbounded, as in it can go to a super high number or a super low number, not a problem. I don't think we're gonna have to deal with bigger than a 32-bit integer. I guess we'll see how it goes. What floor do the instructions take Santa? And to begin, get your puzzle input. So if I click on this, it gives me a whole lot of parentheses. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to create a file. I've already opened up a new project or a new folder in VS Code, and I've set up Go and everything, so we should be good to go there. So I'm going to go ahead and add this as a data file. So I'm going to use day numbers for each of these. Actually, what I should do, just because I'm going to be doing more, I'm going to actually create a folder in here, and I'm going to put it 2015. because, I'd like to do more of these. So 2015, and then now I'm going to create a new file within there. I'm going to call it day 1, and I'm going to call it, let's see, I could call it text, could call it dat, I could call it whatever I want. I'm just going to make it a text file, and I'm going to paste in those parentheses. Okay. I'll save it. And then now we're going to start to write some Go code. Okay. So we're going to I'm also going to call it day1.go. So the idea behind this is that we need to open this file, this text file here, read this in, and then go through each character to determine whether we're going to go up a floor or down a floor. So that should be pretty simple, straightforward. We just need to know how to do a couple things within Go. The first thing would be how to open a file and how to read it into a string. First, I guess we need to have a main program started. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Golang, and just to get the basics for the code here. So this is the most basic Go program you could write. I'm guessing this means go in Japanese, or some Asian language. Okay, so we're going to just put hello Go just to make things a little easier. And then I'm going to go ahead and save this and then run it over here. So I'm going to do a go. Oh, I need to move to the directory. So 2015. And then I'm going to go do a go run day1.go. So it says hello Go. Cool. So we have a working Go compiler. We have a working code. So now we can start in on the actual project. Okay. So what we need to know is how to open a file and read it into a string, ideally. So we have documentation in here. Let's see. We just need to go to the package documentation. And I believe what I want to do is it's in the IO library or IO util library, I guess. So we have a few different functions in here. We have read all versus read file. And because we have a file name here, I think we want to be using the read file. So read file, we have an example here. Nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and use this example. So first off, let's see. I want to make this so that I can see both at the same time. I'm going to go ahead and shrink this window a little bit just so we can get more real estate here. Okay, good enough. All right, so we're going to need to import the IO/IO util library. So go ahead and add that to our imports. And so that was reader. We want read file. Example. Okay. So we have, we don't need to print that. We can say content and error, because the read file returns a byte or a byte array and an error as its returns. So we're gonna grab the error as well as the content, and we're gonna say ioutil.read file, and we should be able to just say day1.text because it's in the local directory. Now we need to do something with the error. That was something that I ran into last time I dealt with this. So We can do if the error does not equal nil. And I'm not going to use the log. I am going to use panic. I've seen that used before, so that works. It's like freak out if it can't open the file. Great. And then basically what we're going to do is we're going to print out the file. So we're going to say fmt. We can do print, or we can do a print line, or we can do a printf. The example here is using a printf, but I want to use print line. And I believe I have to say we have to turn this data into a string. And that should be it. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. So the idea is that the first thing to do, I want to make sure that I can read in the file and then just output the file. I don't need to do anything with it right now. We're just kind of making sure that it works as far as opening and printing the file. Cool. So that works. Now what we want to do is we want to be able to iterate through the string as an array of characters. So there's, I would look this up before. Golang iterate over string. So we want to do for the Golang cookbook. Okay, cool. We want to process a string one word or character at a time. So we want to do each character. So it uses a for loop, which is what I was expecting. And it uses the range keyword. So what we want to do is we want to say for I, and then I don't like to use letters like that. Let's put dir for direction, up or down. Or we could say care. Is that reserved? No. I don't like to use like just one letters, but for I is okay, but it's fine. I'll use care. Okay. And then range of the variable, so of content. And then we will open and close. And we want to print out, let's print it out a little differently in this time. Instead of printing out the whole thing, let's print it out a character at a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, instead of just printing the line, I'm going to say we're going to print the first character, just kind of go by what they've got so far, and that's fine. And we're going to say string for content, and that should be cool. Not content, we want care. Okay. So now what it should do, if it works, is it should print out each one of these parens on its own line. So let's see how that goes. Okay, that looks good. So it looks like we have 7,000 instructions. So that's a lot. Okay. So we're not going to need to print it, but I just want to make sure that this is what we want to do. So the next thing to do is we want to make sure that it will, or we need to keep track of the floor. So there's a couple different ways to set this variable up. I did a little bit of reading before here, just barely, but so we can set up use var, and we can say floor and an int and equals 0. So basically, we're going to say it's an integer and it's going to be initialized to 0, and that sounds good. We might not have to initialize it to 0, but it's a good idea in general. And so what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to go through each one of these symbols and evaluate the symbol, and then increase or decrease floor based on what the symbol is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if char equals, and we're going to use this one, and let me look at the example here, or the instructions. Open means go up one floor. So if that's the case, we're going to do, if this is this, I'm going to try doing floor plus plus. I'm not sure if plus plus works in Go. It may need to be plus equal 1 like in Python, but we'll see. And then I'm going to say else. Now, I could take it two different ways here. I could say else and just say if it's not a left paren, then we need to decrease. The problem with that is if there are any other symbols in here. Now, there's a couple different ways we could deal with that. Another symbol. We can ignore it, or we could freak out. My current thought is to just ignore it. We're not necessarily trying to make this program rock solid. We're just trying to get it done. So I'm just going to say else if. I don't want to do anything weird in case there's some extra character in there. Like the new line character, I don't think that it would show up in there, but it's possible. So we don't want it to be off by 1. That would be bad. So I'm going to say else if it equals the right paren. I'm just going to say floor minus minus. And at that point, we're going to say, we could actually add a floor and keep track of it every time, but I'm not sure it's needed. Let's see what happens here. So after the for loop, what we're going to do is we're going to print out, let's see, actually, let's grab that print statement since I'm not used to writing them yet. I'm going to put it outside the for loop to print out what the floor is. So I'm going to say floor, and then we're going to do we want to, probably don't need to put anything else. And then I'm going to say string of the floor. Okay, so I saved it, and then it complained about this equals because I didn't put care. Let's see what it does now. Okay. It says cannot use open untyped string as type byte. My guess is that it needs single quotes. Yeah. Okay. So for a single character, it wants that instead of quoted. Okay. What is it complaining about here? I is declared but not used. So the question with that is, I don't actually care about I. Now, this actually, we'll see what happens here. This might actually make it so that it will not compile. Yeah, I declared but not used. Now, the question I have is how to suppress this. I shouldn't have to do anything with the I variable. It should, we should be able to ignore it. Now, I don't want to say for char because the range is going to return it's going to return the two values. So let's see what range, looking here, let's look at Golang range. And so it's the tour of Go, that's fine. So first is the index, and the second is a copy of the element at that index. Okay. You can skip the index or value by assigning to underscore. Okay, so that's the same way that you would do it in Python to say we don't care about it. Now we can't use just the single value because that would mean that character wouldn't get assigned, or rather, you have to have one of these at least, and that's going to be the iterator. So I can do this, and theoretically, it should be happy. Okay, so what is it complaining about here? Conversion from int to string yields a string of one rune Not a string of digits. Interesting. So it wants to use sprint instead of print line. Okay. So let's say Golang print int. Let's see. So does it have to be in a separate command? Well, one thing we could use. So it looks like if you do want, you have to use string formatting. So if we use printf, then what we can do is we can do %d and say, or D is probably base 10. Yeah, it looks like that's the way we print it out with standard, like C standard formatting. So now we're probably going to need to put a \n so that it will put a new line. Okay, no more syntax errors, so let's see what happens. Floor 74. Well, one way to find out if it works, and that is to plug it in to here. Let's see how this goes. That's the right answer. You are 1 gold star closer to powering the weather machine. Continue to part 2. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of this challenge or any of my other challenges, be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. I post new videos at least once a week. How do you think I did? Be sure to leave a comment below. There's a link in the description to my GitHub repo for this. If you'd like to see the code, be sure to check it out. See you in the next adventure.